Hey indie game fans, welcome back to I Dream of Indie. I am Ole Gamer Joe here with another review for you today. We're looking at Paradise Killer for PC Steam. This game will also be released on the Nintendo Switch as of September 4th, 2020. This is an open world investigation exploration that was developed by Kaizen Gameworks and published by Fellow Traveler. Now, I have to say that the story of Paradise Killer reminded me of a show Silent Signs just recently got me hooked on called The Good Place. The premise of that show is that a group of supposedly well-behaved people are sent to a beautiful afterlife. However, without giving too much away, if you do plan on watching it ever, that paradise isn't exactly what it seems. Similarly, in Paradise Killer, the council is trying to build a perfect utopia where demons won't disrupt the inhabitants. The residents of this island known as Paradise are said to have psychic abilities which will inevitably resurrect heroes of the past. Unfortunately, each time that they try to create this perfect island, something goes horribly wrong. In the case of Island 24, which is where the game takes place, you discover that the council has been murdered, thus resulting in yet another failed creation. The judge then decides that it's time to call upon Lady Lovedies, a detective that had previously been exiled for crimes you'll learn more about as you play, and from there it's up to you to redeem the ageless detective and help solve the murder before everyone heads to Island 25. Paradise Killer is a really interesting fusion of different genres. On one hand, the game has a lot of visual novel elements. You'll interact with a wide variety of interesting characters, interrogate them, and gather evidence that you'll eventually need to present to the judge. But not everything in Paradise Killer takes place through static images and text boxes, as you're able to roam the island from a first-person perspective. How you approach the case is entirely up to you, and outside of just talking with residents and gathering information, you'll also be able to pick up blood crystals that have been scattered across the island by a bizarre creature named Shinji. This character kind of reminded me of someone I really liked, by the way, in a game called Killer 7 named Iwazaru. Any fans of that game out there might catch that reference. Anyways, you're able to use these blood crystals for a variety of different purposes. You might want to use them to bribe information out of certain characters. You can buy sodas from vending machines, which will help you in their own way, or you can also unlock fast travel at save points. Conversations are really well written in Paradise Killer as well for the most part, with plenty of different dialogue choices to be made. I will say though that gathering information mostly involves simply expiring all of the different options you're given while speaking to a character, so do be prepared here for plenty of text-based conversation. If that's not your thing, this might not be the game for you. Thankfully though, the characters are really charming, and because the underlying story is genuinely quite interesting, it's unlikely you'll find yourself bored unless you really hate reading, which you shouldn't be playing this game then. As you continue to explore this island, you may even find a few upgrades for Lady Lovedies, including the ability to double jump and upgrade your computer so you can bypass areas locked off by higher security measures. Accessing new areas of the surprisingly big island involves a little mini-game where you'll have to match up shapes. Nothing challenging, mind you, but it is a fun distraction nonetheless. But the really interesting part about this game is that you can approach it however you wish. If you feel you've gathered enough evidence, you can head back to the judge and begin the trial. But do know that there is no going back once you decide to do this, so players might be wise to gather as much information as possible so that they can present their case in the best possible way. This means that the length of gameplay here could vary somewhere between 3 to 7 hours depending on how much time you spend gathering clues. It might even take longer than that if you really explore every nook and cranny of this island. All in all though, I found exploring the island to be a whole lot of fun, and the interactions with all of the different characters on the island always felt fresh, well written, and exciting. Graphically, I love the stylistic approach they've settled on here. The beautiful colors are so vibrant and a little psychedelic too. While the island itself isn't incredible looking from a graphical standpoint, Paradise Killer oozes with style that makes up for any graphical shortcomings. Character portrait art always looks great for the most part. The menus and text really pop and invite you into this universe. This is a game with a lot of visual style despite not having the biggest of budgets. The personality of Paradise Killer is slick and engaging. I really did like that about the game. It's not a graphical powerhouse, but it has great style. I was also a pretty big fan of the island soundtrack here. You'll be able to discover more and more of these tracks as you explore the island, and they all sound pretty funky and fresh. The character voices, which can be turned on or off thanks to the game's excellent set of customization options, are also really cute. This isn't full voice acting, but you do get some snippets here and there. I should also note that there is the option to turn on or off some of the more gruesome content and language in the game, which is also a welcome feature that feels inclusive. I always enjoy a good murder mystery, and Paradise Killer is actually a great one with a lot of style. I was almost immediately engaged with the characters, the world, and the storyline that developer Kaizen Gameworks have crafted here. The game has a wonderful visual aesthetic, the exploration doesn't feel tacked on as I loved running and jumping around Island 24, and the soundtrack is as fun to listen to as it is to unlock new tracks for. If you're a fan of visual novels, murder mysteries, and like a little bit of Ace Attorney in your game, the bizarre but inviting world of Paradise Killer is one you're going to love visiting. Case closed.
Paradise Killer.
We hope that you enjoyed our review of Paradise Killer today. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button below to help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. There's a ton of other ways that you can support us down in the description box below. That includes memberships as well as our new merchandise store. However you end up doing so, we thank you so much.